Welcome all to another sales e-learning video class. This is Tony Brancatella, and today we're going to continue into customer service, and we're going to go into delivering customer service. So delivering customer service, there is certain steps that you have to follow, and here they are. First step is the greeting. Second step is to research a specific need of the customer. And we'll show you how to do that. And initial product presentation. And you need also to ask questions or possible objections from the customer. And they're going to ask you questions, I should say. And then you need to close the sale and also the customer departure. So these are the steps that you need to do to follow when you do your role playing. So be it as it is, this is what you have to follow. So if you do not close a sale, you certainly will not pass the role playing and you have to redo it. So I hope you got that correct, and so we can keep on going. Let's take a look at step by step. The first one is greeting. So the actual greeting. This is where the customer enters a warm welcome and into the store, almost feeling like they're going into their living room. I know what you're going to say. A lot of sales now are done online and all of this stuff is not needed. And you don't see this in certain stores. Absolutely, you're right. But it doesn't mean that it's not necessary. So the course is really relied upon what is necessary for a good customer service. And this is it. So a customer enters a store. Your nonverbal behavior has to put the customer at ease at this stage. And you're starting to look at the customer's nonverbal, but also to look and determine what their communication style is. So you need to do a lot of research on communication styles and how to pick nonverbals from communication styles. So has to indicate you are ready to help. You have to indicate that you're ready to help in many ways, by your body, also your nonverbals, yourself, and not necessarily to say, may I help you? We're going to look at that in more details when we come to the sales module, but you need to show that you're ready to help them. Now, and also to say that you are welcome to the store. So that's the step number one that you need to do in role playing to achieve great customer service. The next step is to research specific needs. And what this means is basically that you need to ask questions to find out what the customer really needs. So here, you could use your sales training as much as possible. That's why we do role playing. That is your sales training, to find out what the customer is looking for. So you need to ask open questions. So at this stage after the greeting, if you're not asking open questions, your role playing needs to start all over again. So you really need to do this. And the next step is initial product presentation. And initial product presentation at this stage, you have a good idea what the customer needs after asking all those questions. If you don't, that means you haven't asked enough questions or the right questions. So initiate customer towards initial product display. And again, refer to previous stage where have you attained this and gotten to the customer's needs. So here where you have to link the need to the product display. So having researched the actual need, and now you're showing the actual product, do these two connect? And this is where you got to ask the question, this is exactly what you're looking for? So this is where you need to follow up with indirect questions and also closed questions. The next step in your role playing is the questions and possible objections, and there will be objections by the customer, which will be played by you. You'll be playing both roles, the customer role and the actual sales associate role. So when you get to this stage, you need to ask certain questions, or possibly, if it's not done well at this stage, you need to object. So this is not where the sales associate asks questions, this is where the customer talks. So if the previous steps went well, next step comes very easily. If not, well, the possible objections come here and very strong, and you need to handle them. So you'll see the customer's nonverbals have changed at this stage, and you can see that they're possibly changing the way they look, and if they do that, then you know that something is not right. But this is where it gets very stressful for a sales associate. You need to stay calm. You need to pause. You don't need to react immediately to objections or to questions. Show the customer that you're thinking about it. Again, here, depending on the communication style of the customer. If they're drivers, your pause, certainly, but don't pause very long. If the customer is amiable, your pause should be a little longer. So these are all the steps, again, that are going into role playing. So this is where you can see the customer's real personality. What are they really? Driver, amiable, and so on. Or again, what is yours? How are you acting towards them? How are you responding to their, to their communication style? So if everything went well and you did react very well, do you need to ask more open questions? If not, you can go to the next step because the need is found. If the need is not found, now it gets even more stressful where you're going to have to go back and answer more or give more, ask more, I should say, open questions. So you still need to stay neutral, relaxed, and again, a very stressful situation, but you need to practice this to try to lower your stress levels, to be able to handle these situations, to pause and to stay relaxed and patient. No matter what the season is, as we saw or we could see when it comes to certain sales periods like Black Friday or New Year's Boxing Day, or I should say Boxing Day, certainly the stress levels will increase. So having gone well in all of this, the next step would be to close the sale. You need to close the sale. So you've got to keep a natural, neutral rhythm here, and you've got to ask the question, is this what they want? Is this what they want to buy? You need to ask those closed questions. So alternative questions to reassure, if possibly. At this stage, if they're still giving up some objections, you can still close them off with an alternative question. When you do ask these questions at this stage, you need to wait for the answer and not answer your own question. If you've done this, you failed the role playing and you need to do it again. So understand that. This has to be done in a certain way. This is sales training. This is where you learn what it takes to become a sales associate. So you say nothing here. You just wait for the customer to answer, to say, yeah, this is exactly what I want. Let's go to the cash and finish off the sale. But it doesn't end there. And this is where it's unfortunate for a lot of sales associates. They sort of relax, the stress level changes, comes down, and if they were having to react to a driver at this stage, if they were amiable, they become back into their amiable personality or communication style. And this is where it all breaks down. The customer here at this stage could feel that there's something fake about you and will not close the sale. So this goes all the way through when the customer leaves the store. So the customer's got to leave the store before you change your communication style to another customer or come back to what you really are. So this is a very difficult part to do, just to stay in your communication style of the customer. So the sale is closed. Now at this stage, you can also ask for if they need anything else in the store, and you can ask close or open questions possibly, but this only happens after the sale is closed. Yes, exactly. If you don't close the sale here, the customer could change their mind and go to another store and you lose your commission. So here again, you've got to follow this in role playing, or if you don't, then you're going to have to do it again and again to get it correctly. So practice. I will give you a role playing for a customer that you have to adapt to, and you need to follow that. And also vice versa, you're going to have to do the customer in this stage where we're going to have to do both sides. Again, like it says there, you got to stay neutral. Don't oversell and don't over push at this stage. That is not selling. And when you push and you try to oversell stuff, the customer will feel that you're taking advantage of them and probably might not even buy anything and leave. And again, this is because you have the power, they don't, and they might feel vulnerable and they might think that you've overused your power and they might leave and might not come back. If they've purchased it already and they feel that you're still pushing very hard, they'll leave, but they certainly will not come back or not buy anything else. And to finish off, thank you, come again. Absolutely. You need to thank them all the time. One of the most beautiful words put together in the English language are thank you. So do put them together and do say them all the while. Don't overreact because you just made a commission or a sale. Stay neutral even at this stage. So that's it. You've got all the actual sales procedures, the actual sales step, and you need to follow this for your role playing. You cannot skip a step. You need to do them all. So you need to do a little bit of preparation. And if I give you a product to research, you need to research that product a little bit and have some information about that product to be able to answer certain questions. You did the mission statement. Also, what you're going to have to do is pick a company. This will be your responsibility to pick a certain company that you're going to be working for under that product. And you need to know what their mission statement is so you can actually follow it as much as possible. So we'll talk about that more in class. So the exercise to follow is 4.2, diagnosing customer service. So this exercise is for you to diagnose quality customer service in the following situations. So here we're going to just practice a little bit to find all the steps of customer service and for you to follow what's missing or what's not missing or what to do differently. And also we're going to identify what's positive and what's negative in the situation. So here, for example, the first one, a construction worker walks into a shoe store, and here is the setup. So once you read this, and what are the positive points of this? And in customer service, for sure. And what are the negative points of the customer service? Not of the customer. We're not looking for negative or positive points of the customer. We are looking for negative and positive points of the actual customer service. And now what would you do differently? Again, not as a customer, but as the sales associate. And here, if you want to add your comments of as a customer, what would you do differently, possibly, or would you do the same thing? You can add your comments here, and also as a sales associate. But less and less about the customer, more and more about the sales associate. I just put that there for your information. Another scenario would be 3 young women walk into a bookstore, and here again is the actual scenario, and same setup. Customer service, what was good about it, what was bad about it, and what would you do differently? And as a customer, how do you see this setup, and how would you react to this? And as a sales associate, what would you do differently? So very short video. I know I went 100 miles an hour. You can pause all the time and take a look at it. We will go through this in class. This is what you have to follow to do the actual role playing. So any questions, let me know, and I'll see you in class.